Hey guys, in today's video I wanted to touch on a couple of different passive methods of revision that helped me reach fluency in Spanish. And when I say passive methods of revision, I just mean listening or reading. Now I know I spend a lot of time on YouTube, so what I've tried to do is, instead of watching English content that I enjoy, I try and find the Spanish equivalent, Spanish speaking equivalent, and watch that instead. So for example, for me, I like watching a lot of football related content and a lot of interviews and bits and pieces with footballers. Instead of watching the English related content, I just watch Spanish, so stuff to do with La Liga, and a YouTuber in particular called Janos who does interviews and bits and pieces with different footballers. I enjoy watching that. Yeah, that's sort of been my replacement. And then also just finding other things that are Spanish related, like Easy Spanish, which I think I have mentioned previously. And that's amazing because what it does is you have Spanish speakers from native countries going and interviewing people on the street in other Spanish speaking countries. It's not just a normal interview. They have the Spanish and English subtitles in the video. So no matter what level you are, you're able to watch the video and understand, because if you're at a very basic level, you can just read the English while listening to the Spanish. And what you're doing is you're slowly connecting the dots between certain Spanish words and certain English words, and you're just developing that ability to understand more and more Spanish. Then as you get better, you can start to read the Spanish subtitles while listening to the Spanish. And then eventually you get to the point where you don't need any subtitles and you can just listen to what they're saying and completely understand. And I feel like Easy Spanish is a very good tool for all levels, really, but especially starting out, just to get that real consistency of listening to Spanish when you can actually understand it because there's English subtitles, instead of just listening to Spanish without having any idea what they may be saying. This also works for social media such as Instagram and TikTok, because if you begin following and watching Spanish related content on those platforms, what happens is over time the algorithm is going to change so that more and more Spanish related content is coming up. So again, you're just upping that immersion and the amount of Spanish you're hearing and reading on a day-to-day basis. So I'd highly recommend trying to find some good Instagram accounts, try and start watching more TikTok related Spanish if you are on those platforms. And if you aren't really on social media, then I guess you can just ignore these tips that I've given and we can move on to the next section. TV and podcasts. There's some good shows on Netflix like Narcos, Money Heist, and Elite. I think Narcos is good if you're starting out because Narcos has that balance between Spanish and English. So that is a good way to start out. And again, you can just put the English subtitles on while you're watching these shows if you don't understand. And also as well, if you're still just watching your favorite English shows on Netflix or whatever program you watch them on or platform, just put Spanish subtitles on, because what your brain will do is eventually it will just start reading the Spanish and just start picking up words and picking up translations of how things are said in Spanish. And again, that's just another way to just keep yourself improving and learning more and more Spanish. I think, yeah, the more Spanish subtitles you have on, the better. And if you're someone who likes podcasts like me, I've got quite a few Spanish podcasts to recommend. One in particular would be How to Spanish Podcast. It's called How to Spanish Podcast. Basically, it's a Mexican couple who do know English and they're doing a podcast to help people learn Spanish. They speak very clearly, very slowly as well, so it's easy to understand. And the conversations they have are quite nice about interesting topics as well. So not only are you learning about Mexican culture while listening to them, you're also developing your Spanish. This is a very good one, especially if you are thinking of traveling to Mexico. Other ones that I've used as well that are more news related to just keep on top of the news is Hoy en el País y El Mundo al Día. And those two are very good, but they are a bit more advanced. They're just basically news channels for not just Spanish news, but international news. Yeah, it's very good, very informative, but it is quite a difficult level. I think El Mundo al Día is a little bit less advanced than Hoy en el País, so maybe start there. But yeah, it's just another way to listen to the news and be up to date while also practicing your Spanish. And I quite like podcasts in English like Modern Wisdom. Modern Wisdom is one of my favorite podcasts, so I've had to try and find a replacement for that. I still listen to Modern Wisdom, don't get me wrong, but Tengo un Plan is sort of the Modern Wisdom equivalent. It has that same kind of self-improvement tone to it, so I listen to Tengo un Plan, which is decent. Yeah, it's another way to keep on top of your Spanish. Another one that I was unsuccessful with that might be a good idea for you is going down to local news agents and asking if they can deliver you a Spanish paper. My news agent couldn't do it, but maybe you could try that with yours. That's another good way to just keep on top of your Spanish, especially when you're investing a little bit of money into getting this newspaper. It's going to force you to read it because you spent money on it. You don't want to waste your money. So if you do end up buying it, you're going to probably end up reading it as well. And if you are looking to invest some money into your Spanish learning, I'd recommend you book a free call with me to see how you could fit into my one-to-one coaching program. But if not, all good. There'll be plenty more videos coming out on this channel to help you improve your Spanish. But yeah, I hope this video has helped, and let me know if you can think of any other passive methods of revision people might find helpful, and you can put it in the comments. Maybe it will help me as well. So yeah, let me know. See you next time. Adios.